be we're going to probably
All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:29 and some odd seconds. Please would like to welcome our amazing guests and our esteemed Park and Rec staff and commission. Thank you for being here tonight. I'd like to call roll, please.
Marmion present.
Ocampo present.
Boggs present.
Bolikoff present.
Needham present.
Excellent. Good timing. And next, I'd like to bring to the adoption of the agenda.
I'd like to move for the adoption of the agenda to a change. Move item 6 presentations in front of citizen communications because we have a time frame for that presentation.
And do we need a second? Do we have a second?
She moved, I'll second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, so we're going to move that, which is then takes us to the approval of the minutes.
Yes. I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, then the minutes are approved, and next we're going to move on to presentations. Yay, Ricardo. Tonight we're getting a chance to see information about our sports programs for both youth and adults.
Hello, my name is Ricardo Monroy. I'm the recreation coordinator here for the city of Brisbane, and I'm just going to go over our year in sports here. Starting with middle school volleyball. Great season. These were actually the girls that I first started coaching when I first started working here. So a bunch of my 6th graders. We went to 8-5, so they finished on a high note. A lot of the ladies told me that they were going to go on and play volleyball in high school after this, so it's awesome. You can go ahead and just keep pressing, it's fine. After that was 7th grade basketball. Kids went 12-2. Next year will be their first year of playoffs, so that's exciting. It's going to get a lot more competitive than it was the last 2 years. Then we go on to 5th grade basketball, which was cool. They play non-competitive just to learn the game, pretty much. 6th grade basketball was coached by Chris York. He's a parent in town. The kids went 13-1. So they were kind of the team to beat.
Wow.
This year. Yeah, Chris is an awesome coach. He knows the game very well. I guess he coached a little bit, or he played in Stanford for a little bit. So he's awesome. He's really good with kids. We go to elementary school, 2nd and 3rd grade basketball. Awesome. A lot of parent participation with that. 4th and 5th grade basketball was coached by Don David. We had 2 teams. The 4th graders were coached by Andy Wong, another parent, and the 5th grade was with Don. Also, great. 4th and 5th grade football was coached by Nick Cohn, another, brother of a parent in the city. And that moves us along to baseball. Before that, I think last year my goal was to get a lot more parent participation, and I think this year it really showed. I only had to coach about 2 or 3 teams, which is fine, instead of coaching all of them. So I was pretty excited about that. Baseball, the Rattlers, which is our mid-level team, they went to the 2nd round of playoffs. They were coached by Alex Coriano and family, so they did well. The Pirates, which is our older team, they were coached by, what's it called? What's his name? He's another Cohn brother. Dustin Cohn. He's been our head coach for 2 years, and he's been close to winning a championship. Wasn't so close this year, but hopefully next year he'll be able to get us one. Both teams had great seasons. I think the highlight for this year was our T-ball team. Our T-ball team had about 13 kids signed up instead of none from last year. It was coached by Rob Larson and a bunch of families. So that's it. I mean, that was our year, but I think the T-ball team was awesome. A lot of parents enjoyed that, and I have a lot more pictures of them because they were just so cute. So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
What a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
No, it looks terrific.
Thank you.
Participation is up, I see that.
Yeah, we definitely have more than one team for each sport. So
Good.
That's fun.
Yay.
I'm glad it's still going on. My kids did all that.
That's so fun. That's awesome.
I think there's some
Thank you.
past coaches in the audience.
Thank you for your time, too. Thanks. All right. That brings us on to citizen communications. And since we actually have some citizens here, how exciting. We're going to call you up. I'm just going to do the honor system. You can come up when the podium's empty. And if you don't mind, please keeping your comments to 3 minutes. And we'll welcome you up. Please let us know who you are.
Hi, my name is Charlene Nason. I'm new to Brisbane. I've been here about 15 months, and I live in the corner building 1 San Bruno, and my windows face the park. And I'm here not on a positive note, but because I would like to ask that something be done about the constant late-night noise in the basketball and in the skateboard park. In warm weather, I have one living room window. When it's hot, I need to open it. I basically can't live here if it continues the way it is. Called the police a couple of times, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night, because it's not kids, it's adults that are in there. I'm assuming they're adults, making noise, hooping it up. And I understand people want to play and so forth, but I think our building, and actually my side of the building on San Francisco Avenue, is really the only one that's affected. People on the other side of my building aren't affected by this because they don't have windows right there. And, I don't really want to be the one that is complaining about it, but it's untenable. I mean, I happen to be somewhat noise sensitive, but the sound of the flipping of the skateboard, slamming on the concrete, in addition to, and it's day and night. I mean, it really is quite impossible. And that's a major area. The other one is I'd like to know if there's anything to be done about restricting sound systems when people rent the park for birthday parties. And I basically have to leave. They get those bouncy houses, and they occasionally will turn it so that the generator is facing the windows instead of to the opposite street. Again, these are noise abatement issues. Some people come in with giant stereo speakers, and they're there. I don't know what time they're allowed to rent the park till, but they're there later than I would assume they're paying for. And, these are things I didn't know about when I moved in, so that's my problem. But I would like to know if there's, anything. I didn't know any way else to, bring this up, but to come here. So I'm hoping there's some possibility of something to be done.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay.
I'm not so right. So do we make note and then bring this up at a future meeting?
We can if the commission wanted to discuss further. I know that I just spoke with Ricardo, and he's been in conversation with the police department about regulating use at the skate park later into the evening. I mean, technically the hours of that space are sun up to sundown, but I understand that there have been individuals there that are later into the evening, and then when police do patrol and encounter individuals there, they do ask them to leave. So we'll just continue our conversation with PD and ask for their support and assistance in regulating that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
We can
Thank you for your
definitely
time.
look into that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you for putting the pool issue on the agenda for tonight. I really appreciate it. I saw everyone here last month.
Would you let us know again, though, who you are?
I'm very
It's
sorry.
okay.
My name is Peter McGurty. I live at 401 Alvarado Street. My whole family, we live there. I'm here tonight just to talk about the pool. I'm very nervous. I'll try to get this as concise as possible. I told you the story of why I originally came to see this, so I don't need to rehash that.
Thank you.
So after that, I looked in and said, maybe this was just one bad day at the pool, okay? And I said, okay, kids didn't get into the pool, maybe it's just one bad day. So I started looking at the schedule, and I saw that the thing that started this is that kids were online. I came back at 5:30. 20 kids were still online. An adult walked by. I'm a lap swimmer. They let her in, and she went in the pool. And there was still one lap for lap swimmers. So I said, okay, maybe this was something odd. So I looked into the schedule, and on that day, the lap swimmers had 5 hours before that rec swim to swim. Then they swam during the rec swim, and when rec swim was shut down, they had another hour. So they had 8 hours that day, and rec swimmers who were children had 2. So I started looking at the whole schedule. Right now in the new Brisbane schedule, lap swimmers who are adult only have over 61 and a half hours of access to the pool every week. Children, rec swimmers who are majority are children, but some parents have only 24 hours a week of access to the pool. So I would like us to have a discussion, and maybe we can come to some kind of balance in this. I'm not asking to push the lap swimmers out, but I'm asking maybe some of their time can be shared with some of the children in Brisbane. It's going to get hot. It's getting hotter, and I just think we should talk about it. So I look at the schedule, and let's take today, for instance. Today from 6:30 to 9:30, lap swim only. From 9 to 10, lap swim with aerobics. Okay, that's fair enough. But maybe at 8 o'clock, you could just take 2 lanes out and say we have rec swim from 8 to 9, you know? And on Thursdays, on the days that there's no aerobics, maybe let be rec swim. I mean, the space is there. So then you have swim lessons from 10 to noon. That is awesome. I know how to swim. I taught my children how to swim. I'm teaching my grandchildren how to swim here now. But at 12 o'clock, when you think, okay, you just learned how to swim, maybe kids could practice a little, they're kicked out of the pool, so the lap swimmers only can have the pool for 2 hours. I think maybe some room could be there so we can keep these kids who just learned to swim, tell their friends and palsies, hey, check out what I can do. They'll come to the pool, more people will support the pool, and we can have a little rec swim there. Then the next thing is more swim lessons, which is great, 4 to 6. Oh no, next is the rec swim, 2.5 hours. Okay, 2.5 hours. And the lap swimmers are still there. Then you have more lessons from 4 to 6. Great. And then what happens at 6 o'clock? Get out of the pool, kids. Because the lap swimmers want the whole pool. So I'm not asking to push the lap swimmers out. I'm just saying maybe we can discuss this as a community. We can share the pool a little more equitably. I mean, I am not asking for the whole pool for kids. I'm just saying, a couple of lanes. And I know kids are not going to show up at 6:30 in the morning, so you don't have to do it at 6:30. But maybe at 8 o'clock, let's take 2 lanes out and let the kids come in. Now, they're not going to be there every day. But as once parents learn, hey, maybe it's really hot, let's take the kids to the pool. I know the pool's open. It's a public pool. If the pool is open, it should be open to the public. And that's really what I'm asking for. I'm just asking for a little equity. I mean, and it's an attitude issue, I think. I mean, if you're a lap swimmer for $60 a month, you can swim as much as you want. That's $2 a day. If my grandson, who's 5 years old, wanted to swim every single day, it'll cost him $120 a month. If I want to swim every single day, $147 a month. Because only lap swimmers get that deal. So maybe you could come together and say, okay, we want children to have a monthly deal. Would it be $40 or something like that to not only encourage children to come to the pool, but show that we as a community value that children can use our pool. And I think we could have this discussion. I think we can come to some agreement that could be some room for flexibility here. And that's all I'm asking. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We do, I think, we have that on our agenda for today, too, to talk about. So thank you for that information. Anyone else? Well, it's time for the citizens to come, if you'd like to come and talk to us. Yes.
Malcolm Bing. I'm Miss Bolivar.
Hi there.
I want to know how come you don't turn the water on at the dog park to water the grass after you spent $1 billion on the lawn. Few citizens trying to take care of it. I don't get it. Who's in charge of that? Why wouldn't you just turn on the damn automatic sprinklers? What could be easier?
They're not doing it at First Park either. It's all brown.
Why?
They're not watering it.
Nobody can see it? You can't see the dog park, so they turn it brown. This one out here, it's beautiful.
I agree.
All right, so what you going to do about it? I mean, how hard can it do to I mean, I'll show you where the box is. I'll show you where the timers are.
I
You've got so many people interested, and we literally just get
Yeah.
shut out, kicked to the curb
Yes.
because you can't see it.
I
So,
agree.
I
And
think we should either turn the water on all the parks or turn the water off on that park. And then, as you were saying, things should be fair, don't you think? So screw
that
it.
is
Either
true.
Fry up all the parks.
I'm
cool with that.
I agree with you.
So you're gonna have that
Unfortunately,
big split tomorrow?
Public Works is in charge of that, and we are taking this information tonight, and we are passing it on to Public Works. And when people like you do come to us, we are bringing it to Public Works. So
Right.
at this moment,
They've had like 8 months to kill it. I was
Right.
wondering, maybe
No, I
give me a
agree.
key to the box. I can set it in about 10
but we don't have the key to the box. Public
It's
Works
a 10-minute
does.
fix.
Right, I agree. Public
Everybody
Works
agrees,
has it.
but nothing's getting done.
Public Works has all the keys. They have
Right.
the
When's the
access.
Public Works meeting? That's the
I
guy that
don't
makes
know.
the $1 billion a year,
I don't know.
lives up here on a hill. That dude? You guys know him, right?
I don't know. Does Public Works have a public meeting?
They do not. They don't have a commission or a committee essentially for facilities, but this is something that we could agendize, and we'll continue to work with the Public Works Department as well as the maintenance custodian.
Awesome.
And we can bring this forward as an item for discussion amongst the
What's the
commission at our
discussion?
next
Turn on the
meeting.
damn water.
Well-
the grass is drying while you guys are talking.
I
I
agree.
mean, come on, this is like bureaucracy at its worst.
Well, we don't have access to that.
All right.
So
believe you.
but we do. It's important that you came tonight, and I really appreciate that
Because
you
I'm the
did
first guy that ever brought this up, I'm sure.
to the meeting, but not to us as individuals. So I really appreciate that
Serious?
you've come to
Yes.
the meeting. Thank
Nobody's
you.
come in here and squawk.
No.
So it's really
Yeah, just
important
walk
that
out
you
here,
did.
walk over there. They resodded this thing. Let it go for 2 months. Got so high that the tall grass killed the bottom grass.
Yeah.
Then it was winter. Instead of hitting it with an aerator so stuff would drain and water the grass properly, it puddled. It killed the grass when dog scratched it or something, tore out chunks. It's just a disaster. Even if you put water down, weeds will come. Keep the weeds short. Hey, it's green, right? It doesn't seem that difficult. I don't know. Maybe
Thank
it's too low tech.
I really do appreciate that you came. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael Bovo, and I'm here about the dog park.
Hi, Michael.
It's an absolute crap hole. Okay, started out last year when they resodded it. They did it wrong. Okay, so now the situation exists that it should be regraded with swales so you can get adequate drain off to the sides. Okay, and then the thing that kills me, well, there's many things that bother me about that place. There was a sign there on Tuesday, dog park closed between 8 and 10. I'm down there every morning at 8 o'clock. I went in there at 7:30. I left at 8:15. Went back in the afternoon. Nothing has been done. Okay? So there's a situation here. I've been in business for 40 years. Okay? I have a construction company. And I kind of liken that to the city, except I have to answer to somebody, and the city doesn't have to answer to anybody. All right? So I know that the city subs out the maintenance of the dog park. All right? So if they have a problem with a maintenance contractor, what do? They wait until they find another competent maintenance contractor? Meanwhile, that thing goes way downhill. All right? So in my profession, if my subcontractor screws up, perhaps it's a demolition contractor, I take my guys and we do the work in-house in order to appease the person that I have to work for. Okay? Now, the situation with this is twofold here now. All right? So, whomever it is, they got to get a new bid for a maintenance contractor because they won't do it in-house. So it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So, the next time they get a bid for the job, it's going to be a lot higher than it would if they had maintained it during the time that the maintenance contractor, I don't know if he's been fired or whatever the situation is, but it's going to end up costing the city more than it would if, DPW could send 2 guys down there a day for 2 hours a day, like he says, to water, to clean up, I pick up the papers and all that stuff when I'm down there. I like that place. And the thing about it is that, when Ted used to go down there all the time, he'd organize a situation where he'd get 40 people down there. We do a maintenance. I mean, it was good because you got 40 hands there or 80 hands. So, and he's not down here that much anymore. and maybe I should grab the bull by the horns. But I mean, I'm not going to go rent a tractor and regrade that whole thing and throw the sod down. I mean, but it has to be done right. Last time they did it, when you put sod down, you wet it down, you let it start rooting down for maybe 2 weeks, then you cut it, and then you cut it every week so that the roots grow deeper instead of the grass growing taller. And that's why it looks like it does, because it was done wrong to begin with. So I would assume that they're going to try to do something again, this winter. I assume. It's a big assumption. But I do believe that, I mean, there's a lot of people that use it. There's a lot of people that, older people, that's their only socialization they have during the day is a dog park. And, it's terrible. That's all I got to say.
I do. Again, I appreciate that you're here, because to have this on record now and for us to be able to bring it up with a public comment makes a big difference.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to come up? I think everybody's come up. Yeah, if you walk out the door here and turn right and just walk to the end, you walk right into it at the parking lot. Yeah.
She's new to town. Maybe you gentlemen would like to show her the dog park.
It's the end. You know where the big tower is, where the cell tower is? Well, if you walk out the park, you can see the cell tower. If you get to the cell tower, you won't miss the dog park.
I had one more question.
Okay.
Albert's skunk feeding station,
What?
The bird station by the dog
where
park.
Albert feeds the feral cats and
Oh.
the skunks and such. Is
No.
that like a city thing? Because I bet you could put it right out front here so you guys could all enjoy it.
Oh, look into that.
I don't know, but that was interesting.
Okay. The next thing on our agenda is the recap of our off-site facilities tour. And I guess we're going to open that up for comment from the commission. Is that?
Sure. So what the last time the commission met, we did an off-site facilities tour and visited several facilities, including the Sunrise Room, the Quarry Park at the entrance to the trail, the community center, and the dog park. So what I tried to do here was encapsulate the conversations that were had in those respective facilities with some of the feedback from the commissioners. If I've inadvertently forgotten anything here, please do let me know, and I'm happy to recapture it. And then some of these items we're following up on as far as maintenance is concerned. For example, at the community center, we identified that the windows needed some cleaning, so we've since hired a contractor to do that work, and so on. So if there's anything here that was missing from the conversation the last time the commission met, please let me know, and then we'll take note of it and then proceed with follow-up actions as far as maintenance.
Okay. And do we have discussion on this, or are we just going to give
If
you?
you'd like.
Does anybody have anything they want to talk about from that?
I would just note for the folks that are down here about the dog park that at our last meeting we actually went to the dog park as a commission and saw in person some of the issues that are in hand. Yeah, shortcomings that are in hand. So it's very much on our radar screen. And again, I would thank you for coming down and saying something, because the more citizens speak up, the more it gets attention. It's a squeaky wheel kind of thing. So I just did want to note that we did have at our last meeting, and that was the first time that I had really seen it first person and became aware of some of the issues.
Right. Anyone else?
I want to make a comment, and I also want to thank the people coming to talk about the dog park, because I get a lot of text messages and phone calls, especially on the weekend. And then people also stopping me on the street. And it is a public works issue, but we are Parks and Rec, and these are our parks, and the community is the community is invested in our parks. That's part of one of our mission statements. And it's really disheartening when we have a communication problem with Public Works and why these things don't get done. And it's difficult on us. It should be an easy fix. I don't know why it isn't. But we are not going to let this go. We're going, all our parks, even Firth Park, as Commissioner Bogoff said. And we have another park that we went to see, Quarry Park, that we're going to make nice. But if that doesn't get maintenance, it's going to have the same problem too. And our trails are overlooked too. So we really have to have a better working relationship with Public Works. And the commission here, I think we're pretty much all on the same page. I hope we all are, that we're going to take note of this and try to have a better communication with Public Works.
I should note that and I don't see it here in our notes, that some beginnings towards that end have taken place, and that there is a public maintenance schedule that's been posted at the dog park. Did you want to speak to that? Because there has been some activity.
No.
Spoke about it. They had a sign
Yeah.
there on Tuesday, closed from 8 to 10. I got there at 7:30 instead of 8 o'clock. I left at 8:15, and nothing. I mean, went back there later on in the afternoon. Nothing was done. So I don't even. Put it this way, I don't even understand what they could do in a 2-hour window period.
Okay, well, this question was addressed to staff.
Yes, so Public Works has posted a general maintenance schedule out at the park. They were scheduled to do aeration at the park this week, and the contractor was unable to do so. They have rescheduled that for next Tuesday. And I believe Steve has posted that information out at the park as well.
Who makes sure they show up, though?
I'm sorry?
Who makes sure they show up? Are they just basically, oh yeah, we'll be there on Tuesday. Well, we're not here Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those deals. I mean, somebody's got to have control over a subcontractor.
Right.
You know, and whomever that is isn't doing their job.
Right. So we are the Parks and Recreation Department is working more closely with Public Works to ensure that we're staying on top of the maintenance schedules. But we can absolutely bring the conversation back to the commission at our next meeting if we want to address priorities and how we want to approach maintenance going forward at various facilities, including the dog park.
Thank you.
You know, there should be procedures put in place that the people who go to the dog park can review, because we know the dog park better than anybody else does. Any contractor, he's been there 3 times instead of 365 days a year. You know, I mean, it's one of these things. It just runs so bad. That's the bottom line.
Does anyone else on the commission have anything to say regarding our last meeting and our off-site facilities tour for any of the facilities?
I didn't tour. I wasn't feeling well that day. I'm concerned with the kitchen at the community center. No stove for ever. I don't know why it can't be fixed, a new one installed. The ovens work, but the stove doesn't work.
I would just add to that. You know, we did look at the community center and see that it was in need of quite a bit of repairs. There was some conversation, informal conversation, about what's going to happen to that building when the new library moves, and what the redistribution of that space is, and what sort of funds would come into play in terms of upgrading. Are we in a situation where we really don't want to make any sort of big financial commitment to that building as it is, because we're waiting for the much larger retrofitting of that building? Or are there some of these things that we've made observations, like the stove and so on, that we can put in requests in the meantime? What's the thinking on that?
Right. So the unknown is what's going to happen with the old library upstairs. But we know that we are going to retain the community center downstairs, and we identified some things that we could do in the way of maintenance, regardless of what happens upstairs, like the kitchen. I think we talked about paint. We talked about resurfacing of the wood floor. So some of those things we can go ahead and move forward with. Any other large scale facility renovations, we didn't really discuss, but some of those smaller things we can certainly take action on.
The fence that we saw that was leaning, is that something that's been on the priority? Like, is it put on priority?
That's one of the things we'll follow up with Public Works on, because it's on our list here, so we'll submit a service request and work with them.
Okay.
It's been leaning a long time.
I don't mean to laugh.
Sorry. Is it possible to have Public Works join us in our next commission to be able to provide a readout on
We can
the
certainly
various
ask.
things?
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
Okay.
I mean, given the topics on the dog park,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, I think any of these items that fall into their kind of domain, I think it'd be great to have them share with us what their actions are on them.
Sure, we can certainly request that of them.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Great idea.
Yes. Because everything reverts back to Public Works.
Is there anything else about our off-site facilities tour?
It was nice, thank you.
Yes, it was actually really nice to go out and see everything. And it was nice to hang out with you all. All right, then we can move on to new business, which is the review of the community pool schedule.
All right, so this is on the agenda this evening following a resident coming to our last commission meeting expressing the challenges that he experienced in attempting to take some children to the pool on a very hot day when we had that heat wave in early June, I believe it was. And so the commission asked us to bring this back with some additional information about our general operating hours, our seasonal schedules, and potentially what the department could do to help mitigate some of those more challenging days. So, yeah. Okay. So, just some high-level information. We generally have 2 schedules each per year. We consider them in season, which is summer, and off season, which are the other seasons. And the schedule changes based on that. Our admission fees are fairly in alignment with other neighboring pools as far as our daily drop-in rates. Some pools don't have non-resident drop-in rates. They just have one daily fee. But for those that do, our non-resident rate is higher than any of our fellow colleagues in the pool industry, public pool industry. And our maximum pool capacity is 208 people. Generally, that requires 6 lifeguards on duty to manage that level of capacity within the pool. And for lap swim, just comparatively, for lap swim, we typically have 2 guards on duty. And then rec swim, on a typical day, we have 3 to 5 guards, just depending on the season. Staff did a comparison of open swim hours with the Brisbane pool compared to those of other neighboring pools to identify what other pools are doing in the way of operating hours for recreational swim. And we provided that to you both for the past spring session as well as the current summer session. And as our friend identified earlier this evening, you are correct that we have 24 hours of recreation swim time during the week during our summer schedule. We've discussed internally as staff what we could do to help minimize the impact on those excessively hot days. Traditionally, once the capacity is reached, we start a wait list with any remaining patrons and don't allow those from the wait list in until other patrons leave the pool. We have experienced this anywhere from 2 to 4 times a year. And we talked about going forward, if there's an opportunity for us to expand our recreational swim hours during those excessively hot days, that we would do our best to make that accommodation. We would also look at forecast and determine the days that are forecasted to be, 90 degrees or above, and identify those as potential excessively hot days, and begin the legwork of determining whether or not we can secure additional staffing, and then go ahead and expand our recreational swim hours, because it really is contingent upon securing the appropriate number of staff to ensure the safety of our pool patrons. So the more notice we have for that, the more likely we will be to make that adjustment. We do have an email distribution list for it's predominantly lap swimmers, but it would be great if there were other pool users that were interested in getting on that distribution list. It would help us to be able to communicate with them when we have these last minute changes, so that we can accommodate as many people as possible. And then we also try to post the information as we have scheduled changes to the city website as well as our Facebook page. So I have Jeff, our recreation coordinator, at the pool here this evening. He and I are both happy to answer any questions that you might have, but at this point we would turn it over to the commission for discussion.
I just have a question. Once we get our new boards, the community boards, will we be able to post stuff like that up on the community board when
Yes.
we have a change?
Yes.
So that'll be awesome.
Yes.
One question I had was if we're able to have the rec swim expanded some, so not all areas, but just maybe the small square off to the side during some of those days. Does that require additional staff from a lifeguard perspective? So it kind of goes back to the staffing issue, or can that area be manned, if you will, by the two lifeguards on duty?
That would also require additional staff, because we base the number of lifeguards versus the number of people in the pool. So for lap swim, we can have one lifeguard on duty watching the entire pool, total coverage during lap swim. But then adding kids into the zero depth or shallow end, then we would require additional staff.
Got it.
Yeah, I had a question. The pool, if I remember correctly, the pool operates at a significant deficit every year, something between 300 and 400,000. Is that correct? So, if we change this equation, increase the amount of staff, of course, there's more income coming in if we change the rec hours. Does that have any net impact on that deficit, or is the amount of money that we take in and how we distribute rec swim versus lap swim really insignificant, have an insignificant impact on the deficit that we run for the pool?
Well, naturally the most expensive cost of operation is staff time. So if we were to expand hours, then we would also incur the additional expense of staff time.
It would also, if we increased the rec swim period time, which would increase the amount of the cost of staff time, it would also potentially increase the amount of money we're taking in,
right,
as well. And I don't have no sense of what the relationship of that is. If that's something that we should be considering as we try to think about readjusting the balance here.
So just to give you a little background of this summer so far, after the heat wave, we've had our rec swim is from 1:30 to 4, and there have been days these first 3 weeks where we have a couple camps coming to the pool. So because of summer camps, the pool's been pretty busy during rec swim. But on days that we haven't had summer camp in the pool, on a day like today was actually a pretty nice day. We have had some fair weather. We've been averaging maybe 20 to 25 to 30 people coming to rec swim. So at this point with those numbers, we don't need additional staffing. And like I've almost been overstaffing, anticipating more people coming to the pool because it has been nice. So it's then if we extended hours, which right now the way our schedule is programmed, it wouldn't be. We'd have to relook at the different scheduling. But right now we don't have the demand on an average day of people coming to the pool.
So that, Jeff, that's very interesting. So on a day like today, you have rec swim. How do you figure out how much to staff that? Because you don't know. You could have had 30 or you could have had 200 people on day to day. You would have to err on the side of caution to be staffed, really overstaffed, which is increasing the overhead, basically. Is that, am I understanding
Yes.
what you're saying?
Over the summer, I am scheduling by the week, so I do try to look at the forecast for the next week to see we have a warmer week or a cooler week, and to see which days camps are coming, because when summer camps come, I make sure to have additional staff. But then on a day like today, for example, where it was high 60s, we had a camp in the pool from 2:30 to 3:30, so we had about maybe 50 people in the pool at that time. But prior to, we had from 1:30 to 2:30, 15 people in the pool. And then once the camp got out, there was even less. Like for the last half hour, maybe up to 10 people in the pool on an average day. So like right now, the demand isn't high during our peak times of rec swim.
And just one more question. When a camp comes, are they paying like a group rate, or are they paying, each person is paying an entry fee? Or how does that work financially when a group of 50 come?
Currently, we have two camps. One of the camps that comes Tuesday, Thursday, twice a week is our Brisbane summer camp. So that's included in their summer camp price.
Got it.
We do then have a second camp, Mission Blue Camp, that they pay per person.
Okay, thank you.
So really the headline is it's 100% correlated to weather, and so therefore really it's about figuring out on really hot days how we have sufficient staff to be able to have kind of burst capacity, and then on those days be able to adjust potentially hours in order to expand it. Is that a fair assessment? And from that perspective, is it fair to assume that you all will be kind of expanding hours on some of those hot days and using the communication methods you talked about to notify folks?
That is correct.
Great.
It is challenging, I will say, during the summer when we have swim lessons taking place, because to expand our rec swim time into those swim lesson periods would be very difficult to notify all the families if lessons were canceled and had to be rescheduled or refunded for those individual lessons. But aside from swim lessons, I think, speaking for Jeff here, we're willing as staff to kind of identify those opportunities, whether it be over lap swim or potential dead time frames, to expand upon the traditional hours of recreation swim to allow a greater opportunity for the community to attend.
That's great.
I would just say one more thing, like when it comes to lap swim and rec swim, we do have a lot of very loyal lap swimmers that they come when the weather is warm, they come when the weather is cool. So they definitely take advantage of the lap swim times, where when it's a cooler day, our rec swimmers don't show up until it's warm, so weather-wise. So that's just another point.
Yeah, if I may, through the chair, the only comment that was expressed to me on those really hot days that we had is that when people were standing in line and we were at pool capacity, they just said, we're filled, but it'll be one more hour. Well, maybe they shouldn't have said another hour, just...
Yeah, I mean, there's no way for us to guarantee.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But I think that was just the comment, and then they come back, well, it'll be another hour. And so people would keep staying because they thought, I'm going to get in an hour. Perhaps that shouldn't be.
Yeah,
that.
and Jeff can work with his staff on messaging that is put out to residents.
Yeah, just that it's at capacity. That's.
I'm a former lap swimmer, wannabe again, but I haven't been to this pool. I used to swim at Garfield in the city, and I'm just wondering, isn't there a way to, in that situation, to have a time limit on how long either the lap swimmers have or how long the rec swimmers have, so that other people can be made, accommodations for on those days? I mean, is there any way to do that? Because when swimming at Garfield, you had a certain amount of time. You have to swim fast, or you don't get your full swim in that period of time as a lap swimmer. But rec only had a certain amount of time, and I realize that the numbers are greater in the city than down here probably, but it's just a thought.
I think while that may be a good idea in concept, I'm not sure how you would do that when it's 10% of the time when something like that would be valuable. So now you're a lap swimmer and you go rain or shine, and you're used to a certain routine, and now all of a sudden there's a heat wave and somebody taps you on the shoulder and says you've got to get out. And for the folks who do get in and recreation swim on that very hot day when it's to capacity, how are you going to track? You've been here 2 hours. You got to go now because somebody's waiting in line outside. I mean, I don't know logistically how you would implement something like that. Jeff, is there a practical way to do something like that?
I would agree with you, because we could say, if people figuratively, we could say, like, if you get there at 1 o'clock, then we could say at 3 o'clock we cycle through and let people in at 3. But then if people were to come at 2:30 and only have that half hour, then it wouldn't be fair to those people who came later. It wouldn't be every day. It would be changing a policy for specific days or just the hottest days.
10% of the time when this heat wave happens and when there's real.
Then I feel we would have people would complain on that end that they were not like.
One thought. Again, I don't know how it would impact staff's time, or if we even have the capability to do it up there. Because if there's a wait list, do you all take down phone numbers and just give people a call back?
When it's at capacity days, our main focus is on the pool and guarding the pool. Yep. And then there's one staff in the office who's managing the wait list and watching people as they come and go. So to then take down phone numbers and call people we would need an additional staff for that.
Got it. Okay. Goes back to the same deal.
Yeah.
Staff. Yeah. All right.
I can answer that. I was there. You just physically wait online. And
no, I know.
People are very civilized about it.
I was just asking if that could be something that we could do, but that's why I was trying to get a sense of staffing. Got it. Okay.
I don't know that this is practical. When I worked at the club a long time ago, people signed up for 30-minute slots in the lap pool. They had a time, and like in the gym when we'd use the fitness equipment, it was a 30-minute limit if there was people waiting. So is there a way during those crazy hot days that we do need to limit lap swimming to say to the lap swimmers, because it's a hot day today, you have 30-minute time limit so that everybody can still get in and lap swim? And
it's not an issue with lap swim on hot days. It's just rec swim. So lap swimmers, we don't limit if lap swim is busy, then people just start circle swimming and we can put more people in each lane. So there's always room in the pool during lap swim. People just need to double up and triple up in lanes, even put 4 people in a lane.
I more meant, I guess, if we wanted to shorten lap swim time so that we could give more rec time, or if we wanted to take away a lane during those super hot days and allow a bit of space for the other swimmers, that maybe on those days where we're limiting time for those emergency days, we could do a 30-minute time limit.
For the hot days we had this year, it was before we switched to our summer schedule. So in the afternoons, the Monday through Friday, it is rec swim and lap swim. So what we did was we did cater to rec swim, and one day we went to 2 lanes, and then one day I think we even went to 1 lane because it was going to be even hotter. Right. So typically in the summer we don't overlap lap swim and rec swim. So rec swim time, there's the whole pool, and we just keep 1 lane in for swim tests. And if lap swimmers want to swim, it's at their own risk, knowing that swim tests could happen at any time, and sometimes they do. Or if it's a cool day and we don't have a lot of rec swimmers, then we'll add lanes for lap swim. So kind of be flexible.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and during the heat that week, lap swimming was about 4 or 5 lap swimmers per lane. So
Wow.
that's times 4 or 5 lanes. So that's almost how many at a time,
Awesome.
right?
25 people, 20 people swimming.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any more questions or comments? Yeah.
I really appreciate the commission and the Park and Rec being flexible about the heat, and because it really was a problem. And I really appreciate you guys are making a great effort, and I really am glad we're talking about this, and I'm glad you're trying to be nimble. But what I really would like the commission to address is just a mindset about the pool. I mean, like you said, there's not a lot of drive, there's not a lot of people showing up for rec swim, like 20 people. You don't have to put on a huge amount of extra staff. It's not going to impact your staff that much. So what I'm suggesting, maybe we can have 2 lanes open for rec swim during those times when the lap swimmers are in there, and you won't have to put on staff. But then people will know, oh, we can go to the pool. It's 68, and I feel like going to the pool. But they'll know the pool is there. Right now, everyone, I've talked to other people, everyone's like, I'm not going to the pool. It's packed on hot days, and it's only open for 2 hours. So most people don't, it's not in their mind, hey, it's 12 o'clock, it's warm out, let's take the kids to the pool for an hour and then go do something else. So all I'm asking you is that if it's not going to impact your staff, just pull 2 lanes out of the lap swimmers in the afternoon or these morning times to let the rec swimmers in. That's what I'm
So
asking.
your proposal is that all times during lap swim we also include rec. Is that what you're requesting?
Yes, a small space. Now, I understand, to be realistic, from 6:30 to 8 a.m., no one's bringing their kids to the pool. I can pretty much, I'm not a gambler, but I would put money on that bet. But it goes to 10 o'clock, so maybe 8 to 10, just pull 2 lap lanes out and have it open for rec swim. So you get 10 kids. So you get 15. That's 10 or 15 kids in the pool who are going to love the pool and probably become lap swimmers. I just want to talk about it. That's all.
With our current summer schedule, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 to 10, there's water aerobics. So that currently takes half the pool if they have a big class, 2 to 3 lanes. So that it wouldn't be feasible right now, but Tuesday, Thursdays, there is the time that we can look into for future schedules, and see what the feasibility is. Yes.
Thank you. That's kind of what I was looking at when I was looking at the schedule. There's that Tuesday and Thursday hole open that you already have the lanes set up for water aerobics, so to speak, from the day before. That space, could you use it for rec swimmers? Just little pieces. I'm not asking to push the lap swimmers out. I'm not asking to stop any programs. I just want a little more room for the rec swimmers. And I know you're not going to get a lot of people, and I know they're not going to be dedicated lap swimmers, because lap swimming is a sport. It's what you do. I play ice hockey. It's what I do. I don't miss a hockey game. But just the fact that we as Brisbaneans know that, oh, I can take my kid or we can go to the pool because we know it's going to be open. And you may not get the amount of people in there, lots like the lap swimmers who are coming every day, but we will know that the pool's open for us and we can go there. And that's all I'm asking for. Just a little flexibility around the schedule. I don't want to push anyone out. That's not what I'm looking for. I want more people in the pool and more access.
Thank you.
And also, one other thing, the summer schedule ends June 22nd, right? July?
August
22nd? I'm sorry, my mistake.
August 18th.
September.
Oh, no.
We all live here. September is when our summer comes. So maybe you think about moving that schedule.
We base our summer schedule around the school year with the kids out of school. So that's why we extend the hours from June 22nd until August 18th. So that's why we have the open hours at that time are based around the school schedule.
But because weather is traditionally nice here in September, October, we can still take this approach to those excessively hot days and look for opportunities to expand open swim times.
Okay. Well, this is what I'm looking for. Thank you so much.
And I have one more comment. I was looking at the community pool schedule, like usually the weekends, right? After 6 to 8 are private parties, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Over the summer, pretty much every Saturday we have a private party scheduled, and as the summer goes on, like a few of the Sundays as well, that's when private parties schedule.
Anything else? All righty. Then, with that, we're going to move on to reports. And it says chairman report. Am I supposed to have something to report?
You're not supposed to, but if you do, you're welcome to share it at this time.
Well, I just want to thank all of you for being patient, and I appreciate you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my report. So next is subcommittee reports. Day in the Park subcommittee report is not going to happen because we didn't have that meeting. Is that right?
That meeting was canceled.
Okay,
yes.
good. And I don't know if anyone else besides Bonnie and I were taken aback, but we misread it and thought that Day in the Park was canceled, so thankfully it's not.
I read that as well, and I thought, no, that can't be. That can't be.
We just want to make sure you guys are reading the agendas.
Right. I expected it to say psych afterwards. All right, so then events.
One who got it.
We had new pop-up events discussed at the events meeting. Does anyone beside me want to talk about that?
I had a work call that I was on for half the time, so I think
Yeah, I
you're
was
probably
there.
better.
Okay, will you talk about
Oh,
it?
wait, I can't remember. Start talking and then
Hold
something
on.
will pop
I will.
in my head.
Let me pull out my notes.
We had that meeting a while ago.
We did. This is not those notes. Somewhere in here, I do have them. We talked a lot about the Friday night concerts in the park, that we have some really new, cool events happening. We, on the events subcommittee, okay, somehow in here, we have things written down about the new events. And why did we? I don't know. Never mind. We talked about adding a star-making workshop and possibly doing that this year and looking at doing that in November. We've added quite a lot of fun things during concerts in the park, although I don't know if it happened. Last week, was it supposed to be cornhole and Jenga?
Yes, it was cornhole, Jenga, ladder ball, Connect Four. And they're going to bring them out again this Friday night. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later with our Park and Rec Month.
Okay, cool. And then I think that was really, we talked about possibly doing like a wreath or a garland making workshop, doing some trike races. Those were options, but a lot of the ideas that we talked about were mostly for concerts in the park for those Fridays.
Mm-hmm. I remember, too, we discussed possibly doing stuff out at the marina. Possibly bringing back Marina Madness, which we had years ago. We discussed a little bit about that. And of course, we said something about the Kite Festival, but that's in the process. That is going to be. You're going to give us that update. I know. I'm trying to recall.
We talked about all the different events that are happening. So we have a schedule here, a calendar. Is this something that would be helpful for the whole commission? We have an annual special events calendar that we got at our meeting with every month different events that are already happening, and then we kind of scheduled things in.
We can provide that to the commission if they.
That way everybody can see.
That would be nice.
Yeah, and it's got a bunch of things that I didn't even realize that were happening. That, like, for instance, I didn't realize we did the Kite Festival. Mm-hmm. So all the things that we have done and we all do in every month are all listed in this calendar. It's kind of cool. And then those are the things we talked about adding, like the wreath, adding the wreath making, putting back Marina Madness, having some trike races, and just thinking of some fun things to do at the concerts in the park.
Yeah, and we also discussed briefly about the City Light Festival.
Yeah, the festival.
Or the Star Festival. The music festival that's coming.
Star City.
Oh,
Star
yeah,
City.
yeah.
See, City Star.
Oh, did.
Lights, camera, music.
We got there.
Yeah.
Good job.
We discussed that. I know. See, we had that meeting quite a while ago.
It was
I'm sorry, I
May
have a hard time
28th.
recalling some things. Thank you for having those notes.
No problem.
Sharon,
Yeah.
the calendar, is that the calendar that we made up a while back that has the months and what we're doing each month? That's
Yes, it's got a heading annual special
Yeah.
events calendar, and it's just got the months down one side and then the events in there.
oh, okay.
I didn't make it.
Staff created that before your events meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So you guys should have it.
Yes, we do.
Cool. Okay. Any more things about that meeting?
Do you remember anything
Remember?
else, David?
Like I said, I unfortunately had a work emergency that I
Oh, yeah, that's right.
was on
you
a
weren't
phone
there.
call for most
See?
of the meeting.
Forgot you weren't there.
I remember that now.
I was there in and out.
All right. Well, anything else about that? So then we can move on to setting our subcommittee meetings. Is that good?
Mhm.
All right. As we go to the subcommittee meetings, let's see. So does the Derby day in the park? Do y'all need a meeting?
Probably
Yes.
since it's coming up.
Okay. When do you want to do that? Do I need to help facilitate this, or do you guys just look at your calendars?
Look at it.
Start throwing out some dates that work for you guys.
I'm free next week
Um,
and the week
Monday,
of the
or sorry,
29th.
Tuesday the 23rd. Would that work for you?
No, it's a work event. The week of the 15th and the week of the 29th. And I'm free on July 25th.
Oh wait, next week is 6th, 15th, 16th.
Great.
How about Tuesday the 16th?
Sure.
Tuesday 16th at...
I'm free anytime.
That's for day in the park.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm free.
Would
Tuesday the
6 o'clock be acceptable? Yeah?
Yes.
Great.
Is anyone else on that committee?
It's
Oh.
Natalie, David, and Bonnie.
And Bonnie, does that work for you?
Tuesday the
Yeah.
16th at what time?
6
6
p.m.
o'clock.
Okay.
All right. And then concerts in the park committee? Do you guys need to meet?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so. It's Concerts in the Park is underway. Our work
Yes.
is done. We'll do a
Review after.
review afterwards, and
Okay.
talk about what worked and what didn't work and so on. But our work is done basically.
All righty. We'll enjoy that. Events. Do we need to meet again?
No. Because we won't
We don't.
remember.
Okay. Festival of Lights. Is it time yet to start meeting about that? It seems so nice and warm.
Too early.
No,
Really.
too early.
Okay, good. Habitat Restoration Day. Do you all need to meet?
No, I don't think so. That's all set.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Public Art.
I think we are meeting.
Public Art.
Yeah, well, Public Art, it's still listed here as a subcommittee, but Public Art has its own committee, a Public Arts Committee, of which Bonnie and I are representatives from the Parks and Rec Commission.
Don't
And
we
yes,
have a date set?
We have a date set where we will choose.
Is it the 30th?
No, it's the 24th, I think. And this is it's the 24th. And this is a selection meeting. We're going to select proposals for public art installation on the skate.
What time?
I have 5 p.m. to 6:30, according to my
5.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
on July 24th.
Okay.
But that's separate from our subcommittee. That's just a holding pattern because we're members of that other
committee. Okay.
So we don't meet as a subcommittee anymore.
Okay. Perfect. How about recreation programs?
I don't know when Lyle is back, and he's not here to.
I guess you can't meet with them. Just yourself.
We won't meet by myself.
No meeting.
I have enough of those meetings.
No meeting.
Do you want to? Do you know if you need to have a meeting? Do you want to get?
Why don't we wait until Lyle is back and
Yeah.
have a
Check with
conversation?
Okay.
All right. Recreational facilities. Do we need to have a meeting? after our last meeting?
If the subcommittee wants to meet to reconvene about the dog park or some of the other facility-related items, we could do that in advance of our next
That comes
commission
under our
meeting.
purview. Perhaps that would be a good thing to do.
Okay.
Sure.
In preparation because the dog park is going to be on our agenda the next
Your
meeting.
next meeting, correct?
So maybe that would be a good thing for us to do to sort of prepare for what sorts of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Lyle, Kevin, and Sharon.
Okay.
I can meet, although I'm waiting. Did we get a response for the meeting for the citizens, the volunteer? I had gotten an email asking if I was available certain
Oh, for
days.
the volunteer of the year.
And so I responded dates, and Natalie responded dates, but we never got back to whether we were doing it.
I think we were waiting to hear back on the availability of the council members.
Yeah,
or
I
the
think
liaison.
Angel was on vacation. She just got back, so I will get with her tomorrow and revamp. I gave her the dates that you guys gave me. So
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, cool.
Can I make a recommendation, which is if you guys meet in advance of our next meeting,
Yeah.
would you be able to create a list of the things that you would like updates on from Public Works and perhaps be able to submit that to them in advance?
Sure.
Just so that way that can be the agendized like punch list, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I return. I can meet on, well, depending on when we're meeting with the other meeting, I can meet Monday or Tuesday. I can even meet, no, I can't, well, I could meet Tuesday. I can meet any day next week except for Friday night because I'm DJ dance party in the park. Yeah, I know. I can't meet next week. I'm in Chicago. I leave tomorrow morning. But, so I could meet for the facilities meeting. I can meet any day except Friday the 26th of the week of the 22nd.
I can meet on the 22nd, 23rd, or the 25th.
Okay. Maybe we should do the 25th because it'll be safer in case, because I think we're on for the 21st, 22nd or 23rd, right? For that other meeting? Are those the two?
With Steve too. I'm out of town on the 25th, but Steve
Oh.
could meet with the subcommittee if you wanted to stick with that date.
No, let's have it on a date when you are here.
Okay.
I'm
I'm here the
Do we want
22nd and 23rd.
So either
Okay,
22nd
that's
or
fine.
23rd.
I just won't know what time until I find out when we're doing the other meeting and what time that would be. It's going to be one of those 2 days, so I have a meeting, but I don't know when.
Okay, so do we want to say the 22nd or 23rd, and then we'll check in with Lyle on his availability as well?
Okay.
Is that okay?
And this would be end of the day?
Yeah.
4 or 5, something.
Mm-hmm. Does that work for the two of you?
Just tell the other meeting when you have your meeting.
Yeah.
And they'll have to work around that.
Well, we've just been waiting for them, the city
Well,
the city council
22.
supposed to get back to us.
yeah.
Monday, Tuesday.
Well,
We'll work it out. I'm not going to.
yeah.
4 or 5 p.m.
Okay, so Tricia will circle back with you on that meeting.
Okay, cool. All right. Or this is either. All right. Seniors, do y'all need to meet?
No.
And teen services, YAC.
They're on a break for summer.
Oh, well, that's easy.
So they'll reconvene at the end of summer, start of the school year.
Okay. And
we can try and tie in the
YAC
subcommittee
meeting.
to their next YAC meeting.
Oh, cool. All right. Trails development. Do you all need to meet?
Have we met?
We haven't met
Have
yet.
we met?
No, we have not
we have
met.
we have not met.
No.
And trails development encompasses a lot of things. I think one of the reasons I originally got on this subcommittee meeting because I thought, or this subcommittee, was that I thought it would be a good place to interface with potential for creating a linear park on Crocker Trail, and this is going to come up under your report that in fact the funding for that was passed with the city council. So would it be worthwhile for us to have our first trails development to discuss the scope of what's coming?
Certainly.
Yes, okay. So I propose that we do have such a meeting.
Okay. When would you like to meet?
The week of the 29th?
Okay, how about the 29th?
Monday the 29th?
And I have nothing. I can meet.
4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
I can even meet in the morning if you want to meet in the morning. Get it
End
done.
of the day works. End of the day works best
Okay.
for me.
What time?
4 o'clock?
Okay.
July 29th at 4 p.m. And we'll check in with Lyle on that one as well.
Cool. And then do you give us a report on the 280 South Hill, or does that just happen when you?
I can talk a little bit about the 280 South Hill proceeds, although that will also intersect with what you're going to report.
You're more than welcome.
We had put in a proposal for the capital improvements with City Council to spend up to $100,000 on a master plan for developing Crocker Trail as a linear park, which would intersect both with rec facilities, with public art, and with also with habitat restoration, and also take into account that we already have $1 million set aside for a grant to pave that, not pave as in asphalt, but as in pressed whatever it is. And that did pass, and that is that does come out of the proceeds. Just off the top of my head, I believe that there are about $270,000, so $100,000 of that is now allocated. There is another thing that was allocated out of that came from Open Space and Ecology, about $50,000 for an extension of a trail in Firth Park, if I understand it correctly. So that means that jointly we have recommended and we've allocated of that, and I'm just guessing $270,000, $150,000. So that is the report on that. And a little bit more about that. You'll talk a little bit more about that when you make your presentation.
Not much. You recapped it all.
Okay.
Awesome. So we move on to commissioners. I'm not I don't know what exactly that means, but here we are.
I wanted to bring up the fact that Firth Park is brown. They're not watering it. They're not taking care of it.
Well, Tricia's making a note, so we will follow up.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else?
One question I had was at our offsite, we talked about the kind of alleyway trail between, I think, Sierra Point and Alvarado, and I wasn't sure if that was something that you guys were able to look into, whether or not that is actually a sanctioned trail, or if it is a alleyway.
Oh.
If you take the alleyway, the first leg of it has the alleyway between San Bruno and Visitation. There's a trail that then goes in between the houses, has steps all the way up to, I believe it's Alvarado, and then the next leg of it to go to San.
Renee might know.
We've talked about that for years.
Pete might know.
Yeah.
That passes right in front of my house.
Oh.
It's an easement. It continues that easement.
Yeah.
I don't know how official I've only been there 20 years. It's been there the whole time we've been there, so.
I just wasn't sure if, because
I believe it's public.
Are you talking about the stairs, the cement steps? with
well,
the
it's
railing?
after that.
The stairs end, and on Alvarado, there are stairs go to my house, a little greenhouse. That's my house.
Oh, cool.
I put
That's
a little
awesome.
handrail in there.
Yeah.
And then I put a handrail up along the side of my house, and then it goes
Just keeps
up
on going.
third and keeps
Yeah.
going.
So I was wondering if we could do something
I
about
mean,
that.
It looks like a continuation of, I don't know what's that called. I call it the alleyway. So.
Yeah, I do too.
We've talked about that in the past of doing something, but it just kind of has been
I can
up
give
there
you
in
some
the air
inside
still.
information. Some surveyors were out. The city has contracted out to put a staircase in there.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's what the surveyors told me.
Yeah.
And they were there Monday.
Oh, okay.
Well then,
good.
There you go.
problem solved.
I remember something, and I'm
Yeah, because it was an easement, and we just didn't know if we could do anything.
Yeah,
And it's
that- I
been-
mean, that's
been talked about for
There you go.
years.
We're doing something about it.
For years.
I know that there was some
too.
discussion amongst the city council at their last meeting as far as trails were concerned, and having some desire to update and kind of remediate some of the trails. So that's something that they were wanting staff to look into. So maybe that might be part of the process, since it sounds like they already had somebody out there. But I can follow up and get some more information.
That'd be great.
Is that something
Either
that's-
email you an update or
Is that something that's being initiated by Public Works? And I'm remembering
Yes.
a
so.
public art committee meeting where some folks came in and talked about installing these stairs and it being a potential site for public art. And I'm not sure whether this is the same discussion, but that was coming out of Public Works.
I mean, there's lots of great staircases throughout Brisbane. Again, one of the reasons I love living here.
Yeah.
But that was just the one that now I'm most familiar with, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't have anything there. And I know people use it, and yeah, exactly. It was just not super safe, so that's why I was asking about the. Yes.
And thank you for putting that railing up, because my kids used to go down there, and they're 32 years old now, and they used to go down that, you know. And I know, like, a lot of the walkways, they need to be upkept. That's another thing that's on our list.
Maybe we can add that to the list with our Public Works.
Public Works, yes.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Then that means we're moving on to commission. Oh no, staff. Programs reports.
Hello. I have some reports on our summer programs. The first one is the summer camp, which all 8 weeks are at capacity. We were only able to take, depending on the weeks, 50 to 55 kids because of the bus that goes to the field trip. We can only fit so many kids on there. Plus, we also have staff that has to go too. So each week already has wait lists. And so what we've decided to do for the people on the wait list, because more than likely not too many people are going to cancel out, and we've added a 4-day week. They can't do the field trip, but at a reduced rate, we'll give them 4 days, and they can be at the camp for 4 days, and the one day they would just have to find something else to do, because we don't have any staff here on that day because everyone goes on the field trip. And most people are taking us up on it. It gives them, the kids something to do for 4 days of the week. So this is the first year since I've been here that we've ever got to capacity on all 8 weeks, and in such a quick amount of time. We were already at capacity on all. Week 8 has 8 people on the wait list, and that's the most that we have. So summer camp's doing really well. The contracted classes did not go well. The camps. We had 10 contracted camps, and 8 of them just today I had to cancel due to low enrollment. And they were like really fun camps, dodgeball camp, the slime camp, steamworts camp, coding camps, Minecraft, robot camps, and jewelry and art making, and we just didn't get enough kids in any of them, so the contractors want a certain amount, so we decided to give everybody the opportunity to try to get into our 4-day camps, so we had to cancel everything today, so I'm still waiting to hear back from a lot of people. Our preschool for fall registration has been open for a little while, and we only have about 6 kids registered right now. So we're hoping that it's one of those late things where people wait till the last minute to register. It's unprecedented for preschool, so I don't know if we had them all in the last few years and there's no little kids left at that age group. I don't know. But they're trickling in little bits at a time, so hoping before September, we'll have a good amount of kids in there. A sign will be going up on the signboard this weekend, so you know how that always works. And then the last thing I have is the club rec for fall, which I'm sure you're all interested in. We filled up to capacity of 100 in one day.
Wow.
And we are now at 16 on the wait list. So they're really
Club Red. This is the middle.
This will be
school,
for fall.
Or this is the grade school.
Grade school.
The grade school.
grade school. Yeah. So yeah, we've never had an enrollment that high ever, and the fact that there's probably still going to be more coming for the wait list, and I don't really foresee us having any movement. So, but it's
Sounds
good
like
and it's bad.
Your
So,
normal preschool shifted.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. So that's all I have for you today.
May I, through the chair, comment? I'm doing summer school down at BES, and I see the summer camp going. And let me tell you, it is just fantastic. The kids are having fun. We're all watching them engage. Sarah and her team, unbelievable. And the kids that are going on those field trips, they are so excited. It is really, really good to see. So I just want to.
And I would also like to give a shout out to Sarah and her team, because I've been here long enough now to know what we in the beginning when I first came, how it wasn't as well managed, and we didn't have a lot of fun things going on. And I get parents, my kids love it there. They love Sarah. They love all of the her team and everybody that works there. So I have to give a shout out to them, because they have turn that thing around, and the kids love it, and that's why we're so at capacity, because everybody wants to go there. It's a lot of fun.
And the volunteers, I think they're volunteers, little leaders, from the Lipman Middle School. I know a lot of those students, and they're having a great time earning their community service. They're really having a good time doing it.
We want them to have a good time so that they stay on as staff when they're old enough.
I think you'll have some.
Part of our grand scheme. Just to piggyback on what Tricia said, as far as our child care modular update from City Council, and Clay, Madison, and myself attended the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday of this week to submit our formal request for Measure K funding in the amount of $100,000 towards the new child care modular, and it was approved. So, woohoo! Still moving forward with our vendor, and Public Works is doing the utility upgrades this summer so that they are in place and ready for construction and install of the new child care modular in summer of 2020. So that project is moving forward. We're excited to have a new modular to help with accommodating the significant demand that we have for the program, and also we'll be setting up a meeting with the new BES principal shortly to talk about other ways that we can potentially accommodate the families that are on the wait list to be able to provide some type of child care after school for those kids that need it. So that's exciting. We talked a little bit about the signboard upgrade. We went to City Council when they had their CIP meeting a few weeks ago. Kevin graciously attended also and helped me with the display of the e-ink unit so that the council members and the public could get a sense of what the aesthetic is and what that looks like. And several council members expressed their kind of excitement and enthusiasm for supporting a solution like that, although they did want some additional information to be provided to them about the lifespan and warranty options. So we'll be bringing that back to the City Council next Thursday night at their meeting. Let's see, we purchased new AEDs for all of our high traffic facilities. They just came in, and we will be installing them at Mission Blue, the Community Center, the Sunrise Room, here at City Hall, and our child care modular. So all of those facilities will be fitted with AED units to aid in the event of an emergency. Thank you to Sharon. I know she's been working with some staff on sound system and AV upgrades at Mission Blue, so that is very exciting. They were up there this week working hard on putting that into place. I don't know if you want to speak to it at all, but thank you very much, Sharon. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We did, we put in new speakers, all new mics, new mixer in Mission Blue, and the one thing that we're finding is an issue, but it's not an issue, is that the wiring is not appropriate. It's old, and some of the wiring might have actually been jammed out of the wall by the doors that slide open. and we now discovered that one speaker's not even working, one of the outlets. But it's been constructed in a way that we should be able to pull the wire and run new wire all at once, because they did it with tubing, whatever it's called. Conduit, thank you. And so the idea is, when I get back from Chicago, we're going to try to get, I have contacts with sound install companies, somebody to help us pull that wire through and put the new wire in, and once that's done, it'll all be finished as far as the sound. And then I believe that we did switch a little bit. Well, I don't believe, I know. I switched the sound from the community center and made it a little bit easier, because the sound system that I had installed there is really what's at Mission Blue now, because it was way overkill for the community center. So now it's a much easier system with a really nice digital small mixer, one wireless mic, one wired mic at the community center, two nice speakers that are all going to be permanently sitting in there, so any groups that go in will have access for a sound system. And at Mission Blue, in theory, we can probably charge rent for people, because they can use those speakers without us even having to give them access to the whole sound system, because each speaker has its own input. So we could technically say, oh, if your DJ doesn't want to bring their speakers for a couple extra bucks, you can use the sound here. So anyway, it's going to be quite flexible, and it's nice.
Yes, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Oh, I guess our time's up.
No. So most of you already know that July is National Parks and Recreation Month. And so what we did was we put out this calendar to the public. It's really hard to see on this screen. I apologize. But we have printouts of posters and flyers throughout various city facilities. Essentially, we identified an opportunity every day for members of the public and our residents to do something recreational, whether it be hike one of our trails or come swim at the pool or visit Jimmy at Castaños Canyon. And then on Wednesdays, we've been organizing events for city employees to get active during the lunch period, and the public's welcome to join us for those things. And then on Friday evenings, in advance of the summer concerts, we have activities at the park. As we mentioned, they did lawn games last week. This Friday night, they're going to have a scavenger hunt organized for families. And then in the coming weeks, then we'll also have frisbee golf out there and carnival games. So just kind of celebrate recreational opportunities that we have here in town and get people really engaged for the month. So that's there.
Today, what did it say for today?
Today we had those lawn games out at the gazebo for employees.
Oh, cool.
So.
We played giant Connect Four and
Oh,
all
okay.
kinds of fun stuff. Lots of cornhole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we will go to City Council next Thursday also to receive the proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. So,
Oh, yay.
celebrating all of you this month.
Well, all of you.
What date
your
is that
service.
so we can attend?
Thursday, we would
This
love for you
Thursday.
to attend. Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yes. We would love to have the commissioners there if you're able to be in attendance.
What time? She wants to know what time.
The meeting starts at 7:30, and the proclamation presentation is at the front end of the agenda.
Awesome.
And then just events coming up. Summer concert series is rolling and going well. As I mentioned, we'll have the additional activities out there on Friday nights throughout the month of July. The Marina Kite event is this Saturday out at the Marina. And then the Star City Music Festival is on Saturday, August 17th. Tickets are available for sale online. I think that's all I have.
And it is official that the Lions are doing tri-tip at the Star City Music Fest.
Yes, we're very excited about that.
It's
I think the poster says August 18th. Does it say that?
On the signboard,
On the signboard.
that was a typo.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I'm not pointing fingers.
I know
or
it's
anything.
Saturday.
This is why we need a new signboard.
Yes, so we can
Okay, I was just no. I'm not trying to point fingers.
Yeah.
The old Cybird's getting old.
There will be a new one going up this weekend with
Yes.
the correct date on it.
We will correct it, but just to confirm, it is Saturday, August 17th.
Oops. Sorry. All right. Is there anything more for our reports? All right, then. We are going to talk about written communications. And is this written communications to us?
If anyone on the
Have any?
commission received any written communication. Okay.
I had none.
Okay. Then we're moving on to the commission calendar, which is talking about our next month's meeting. Personally, I'm going to be, it's the opening of my school year, and it's my year-long, it's in my annual convention, and it's the night that we take our vendors out, so I can't be here for that meeting.
And I don't know if I'll be here. I might be I'll probably be in Iowa.
Why don't we skip it?
The last few years, we have skipped the August meeting and then reconvened in September, if that is
Right.
the commission's pleasure.
So do we have a motion to skip the August meeting?
Make a motion that we skip the August meeting.
I second it since I too will be on vacation.
To the question?
Yes, the question. That would postpone discussion about the dog park until
September 11th, I believe it is.
Okay.
And Public Works.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
We'll
that
give
gives
them enough time,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Is that all right? Any other questions?
Mm.
Okay, all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Did
Opposed?
you make a motion to cancel
Yes.
the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And a second.
In a second.
Okay, I didn't.
All right, so the next meeting then we will have is actually going to be not in August, but it will be in September, and it will be September 10th at 6:30. And is there any?
11th.
11th.
Sorry,
September 11th.
wrong organization. September 11th. That's it. There's nothing else. And at 8:01, I officially adjourn this meeting. Thank you all so much.
Well done.
Great job.
Thank you.
You did a good job.
Well, now I know answers to some questions.
For,
I know.